Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build yourself a classic style Minecraft base, built using modern blocks, but with some of the charm that old Minecraft 10-15 years ago had. Let's just get right into it. And let's start by finding ourselves a relatively enclosed area in the forest. You can see here we have a nice hilly area. We do have a floating block. Get rid of floating blocks in your area. But you can see we have water and it's closed in. This is very important. If you don't have one of these, I recommend straight up terraforming the terrain. It's that important for the vibe. Anyways, once you do that, go into the side of a hill and start digging like this. When you have this kind of built-in base, then we can continue excavating and we can make our interior not match our exterior, which helps immensely later on. Of course, because we're building old style, we're going to be using a lot more oak than I'd normally use, because the little holes in it just kind of mess with certain furniture things, but this time we want to go for that appeal. Start by using some stone bricks as well. Those were a very popular block back in the day, and of course they're pretty easy to get. You can build this as a day one starter base, so keep that in mind. We just do a little bit of excavation, make sure we have no dirt blocks touching the stairs. So we have that, and then the entrance, just oak. Make sure that your door is facing with the knob to the right, because originally you couldn't do it to the left. And then torches are your main lighting source. I wouldn't go to say no other lighting sources, but when possible, use a torch. But sometimes you do want to use lanterns. Something to keep in mind while building this is that old Minecraft's vibe is effectively gone. No matter how many textures you bring to their original states, ultimately, you aren't going to get that same vibe again, because it was never about the game, it's actually about you, surprisingly. Of course, a little bit of a heavy subject to open my Minecraft tutorial with, but yeah, I've been playing this game since Nether reactor cores were a thing, and the blue villager was a mystery on the horse update art. So I'm just going to say this, you are what made Minecraft special. Instead of worrying about the textures and whatnot, embrace what you have in the modern versions. And from there, incorporate the things that you like. It's about the free-flowing creativity, not caring. And I got a little bit of it towards the end of the video when I started doing the exterior of this, when I really had to embrace my roots as a traditional Minecrafter. So, we just want to build as it comes to mind. Don't worry about the old blocks. Just use whatever you have and not care about whether it looks particularly good or bad. Innovate on it, and don't look up every answer. So, some birch floors here. That is a fantastic choice, because of course, we want to use some of those old style blocks, so definitely the original 3 woods. You can also use their trapdoors when possible. Then, stone bricks for our bottom blocks of the walls, and then some oak for the top. We're going to have nice rounded ceilings using a combination of slabs. And then, as we walk in here, we also want to try some diorite. I originally used tuff, but I recommend smooth stone. The reason being is that smooth stone is of course a very old infamous block, but it's a very good one. Because of course, while I just said don't rely too much on the old stuff, still let's use some of it. Otherwise, it might just feel like a modern build, which is not what we want. So we have this, we have a lot of oak logs being incorporated when possible. And when you keep that in mind, then we can start building our first room fully. So we go in here, we look around, and we also have to fill in some more walls. Maybe make some backup chests in order to keep everything nice and organized, and potentially look into copper golems. Experiment with them in the game, not use the wiki. That way, you really get the feeling of old Minecraft, back when there wasn't a big wiki for everything. Don't get me wrong, it's a useful tool, and I help contribute, but it does ruin some of the vibe. Anyways, for our ceiling, don't do flat ceilings when possible. We can do better. And thus, let's incorporate some of our slabs into this. So you can see here, we have this almost diamond shape in the middle. I can edit it as need be. And we want to make it nice and rounded. That way we can hang a lantern from it if we want. Also, make sure your rooms are odd numbers of blocks wide. That way you can have things like this hanging down. Of course, this lantern gets kind of in the way, so I retract it a little. But still. Along with that, for your foliage, always use cauldrons and leaves like this. This is of course kind of part of the old vibe. We want to use some of the things, but not all of them. And if you just keep repeating that, eventually you'll understand and it'll come naturally. So we have some chests, and we're also going to use some flower pots. Poppies and dandelions work very well for this, but of course, if you find a cool plant on your journey, put it there instead. And then here's a fun one. Of course, you might need a copy-paste Unicode for this. So start by placing an O, then place as many spaces, remove 2 of them, and another capital O. Then the thing you store in the chest, and repeat the same thing as the top line. This is a little detailed to make it look like things are bolted in, rather than using something fancier like glow item frames. Not only is it cheaper, but as of Chaos Cubed, these will not lag your game anymore. So we have this in black Unicode squares, and now we're starting to get somewhere, especially with that lake area. Now what we want to do is go right here, and we're going to make a very interesting little rug, using some looms so that way we have easy loom access. Then we're going to make a cool design. What kind of cool design? You choose. Just use some random blocks. Use wool, terracottas, glazed terracottas, anything. Don't worry about what kind of block it actually is. Then some leaf litter at the end to act as tassels. Now we just put some on the looms like this to really fill it in. By the way, you can also add things to your walls. I carved out a piece of the wall and you can see the diorite on the right. I also put a zombie head there and some candles. Now we have a better rug as well to really finish this room. And we can see outside, still looking just exactly the same. Now what we want to do is put in some old paintings, because of course paintings were kind of your only thing for decoration back in the day. So let's use that. And then we're going to make another room after this. You wouldn't really see this in a modern Minecraft survival base, but because we don't really care about that right now, let's do it anyways. Excavate yourself a decently sized room, of course odd numbers of blocks wide, and you can see here we're making a kitchen. Lots of birch, andesite, good one, smooth stone for the floors. We're going to incorporate some furnaces into it, and we can also try some quartz. Add in some bone backsplash in order to decorate it a little bit more. Of course, part of old Minecraft is not caring what the block is, just that it has a nice texture. So now we have all this, going back into creative mode. Now what we want to do is decorate it as such. We can try barrels, but I'd advise against this actually. Instead, let's use lots of chests and that same sign thing. And we can also incorporate some oak trapdoors into this. The reason being is because, well, oak trapdoors are somewhat overseen nowadays in favor of spruce trapdoors, which usually just are a better texture for everything. But still, you can also incorporate a cow in here if you like making cakes, an old Minecraft staple. So now, let's continue decorating the room. And you can see, I've gotten a little out of hand, incorporated some pale carpets and things like that. But right here, we have a food chest. Over here, fuel and smelting stuff. We got furnaces facing each other. We got pale carpets on top. And we also have this cooking area. Blast furnaces, smokers, detector rails, and then a fridge. Because of course, we all love pointless contraptions. Some of the Minecraft whimsy is just building these. Remember, it's not about the textures, it's about you. But anyways, we have all that. I also added the rounded ceiling with the first room. And now we're going to make a dining room. Yet again, another pointless room. We're not really going to visit this very often, but the more of these you add that carry that same old vibe, the better. So continue adding them. So right here, big round room. And then we're going to decorate it the same way we did the other rooms. This time, I'm going to add a fireplace, of course, using bricks. And you already know what I'm going to say. It's an old Minecraft block and thus I'm obligated to use it. But of course, use some of our more modern things. But do not use a campfire. Never use a campfire, because that's a more animated block. Instead, use normal fire and risk burning down your house, because burning your house down is of course a classic Minecraft activity. We have it really well nowadays, but anyways, let's just build ourselves a dining room table. You can see upside down stairs, and we're going to try and avoid using trapdoors when possible for the chairs. Instead, use signs and full doors. And you can see that works out very well for us. We have a complete table, and we have the rounded roof. We got ourselves some fake windows here that just look off into random areas. Wool is of course another block, and then we have cake here. We got classic Minecraft foods on the table, and the rounded ceilings. Chandelier made of dark oak, and then the back you can see was made very many times. It kept burning down. So be careful with that. You might burn down your whole base with this real fire, but consider it part of the challenge, and I'm going to make a video about why burning down your house in Minecraft probably isn't as bad as you think. Anyways, adding in some more oak leaves and whatnot, now we can abandon the dining room for the rest of the playthrough, which is kind of disappointing. Maybe put it in a more intrusive area, so that way you're forced to look at your accomplishments more often. Because another way to ruin your Minecraft world, building only farms. So now, right here, we're going to build a main hall, because of course, we're going to need an area to connect stuff. Make sure that your rooms are interconnected when possible. I kind of abandoned this towards the latter half of the tutorial, and that is a bit of a mistake on my end, so be careful about that. Make sure your dining room has more than one entrance to it. Make your rooms a little bit bigger so you can add more entrances. Ladders, trapdoors, secret bases, all those works very well. And if you're building this not inside a hillside, just out in the open, well, don't worry about the exterior. Just build rooms and have boxes on the outside. You can decorate them later. Now, we're going to do the whole rounded room thing. I'm sure you already know the gist of it. If you need a little bit more help, you can always ask in the comments. Because I'm not super popular yet, I actually have the time to reply to everyone. So, if you have a question, ask away. Now, we just have all that on the ceiling, and we're going to continue building this big room, being mindful that we don't accidentally breach the surface. If you do, just surround it in stone bricks. Now, another chandelier using some chains, removing the night vision, and we have some tall stone bricks with some mossy variants on the sides, because of course, moss very important. Torches, preferred lighting block, and we have some granite walls, because nobody's really going to notice. Then, in order to make our torches a bit more fashionable, put them on fences like this, and make sure they're evenly spaced. Because if you don't, well, that's just bad building design usually. So now, we have all that, and we're going to make a 4-way intersection. And this is, of course, another pretty simple task. Anything you need, build it. Animals, nether portal, enchanting, storage, bedroom, anything like that. In fact, the bedroom is going to be an overhang. Now, we add ourselves more of that checkerboard pattern, and you can see we have tons of ways to go from here. That will be cartography, this will be the bedroom, you can see right here, this is our mining room. We'll decorate it in a moment a bit more properly, although not much to add to it. Sandstone and bricks, good choices for this. Then we can go up here, and we breach the exterior, but this is okay actually, because it's going to be joining our facade exterior for our subterranean base. And then right here is going to be storage plus nether portal. But that one's pretty simple, you can do a lot of things with that one. Let's talk about the more complex activities, like the cartography room. This one's pretty easy. We just have more of the wool facade, we have some bookshelves, some various modern blocks, and the dragon egg lamp. Also, make sure to do big maps of your area, and lock them using glass panes and use the cartography table. As for your actual cartography things, maybe store them in a chest. A copper chest is perfectly suitable for this actually. Remember, it's about inner whimsy, not block choices usually. Then, we have ourselves this room here, bubble elevators up and down, let's not be inefficient like that. And then, chest, pretty much basic room. Nothing too much to it. Also added some leaves in here, because foliage is very important. And then, we have that, and you can also see some of the balcony coming together for the top. Add some utilities in here though, because of course, if your room's useless, then what did you really accomplish? But we can also go up here, lots of paintings on the sides, glass window overlooking our little lake area, and then, using some acacia, we have ourselves a brewing room, using random blocks. You can waterlog parts of the walls to grab water bottles from if you're on Java Edition. Anyways, brewing, major part of the old game, maybe brew yourself some speed potions. That way, you can traverse your world faster when you're not using minecarts, or potentially using the elytra. But anyways, we have all that coming together, and now we're going to go down here. This one's a little interesting. We're going to dig out this. From there, this will be our storage hall, but we're also going to add a door to get us to the second floor, the only instance of an actual second floor. make sure you have height elevation changes in your base, because why not? And also, you bet, it's part of the classic vibe. Because inefficiency and general bad decisions are part of Minecraft, so be sure to do that too. Also, fence gate here, and some powder snow at the bottom, so that way we can fall down without taking fall damage. So add that real quick. Make sure it blends in using the proper color of carpet. But anyways, for this room, we're going to be using cyan wool, because cyan wool is pretty much the ultimate nostalgic block, or at least for me, because cyan was a cool color. Oxidized copper stairs work well with it. And then you can see part of the mining room's floor is poking up in here. We're going to cover it with a big bed. By the way, rounded ceiling yet again. So let's decorate this with whatever we want. And also be mindful of other rooms and the fact that we might accidentally breach the surface. If you don't have spectator mode, replay mod, or anything like that, going for normal survival mode, then maybe completely excavate your room +1 and then see. Now, I've decorated the room a little bit more. We have ourselves some various things. A pot with a golden dandelion in it, a Hunger Games display right here, because Hunger Games, my beloved, one of the few things I actually completely miss. It's all competitive now. But anyways, paintings, we got crafting tables, under chests, bookshelves, anything you want. You can pause and take a look at it again. But make sure to decorate it with your own pizzazz. Now, storage room, nether portal, nothing too interesting to that. You can use signs to label your chests. And now, with all this, our interior is done. But we do have an exterior, and that is, if not more important actually. You can have a completely modern base, but the way you decorate the exterior sometimes can be more than that. So keep this in mind. It's kind of dark out here, so you can imagine we're going to have to add some lighting. So let's go through and add a bunch of things. Right here, because lava is cool, we're going to be adding lava falls. So add yourself lava falls. Then around here, make sure that you have valid walking areas around your base. Because of course, I'm assuming you have a lake structure somewhere in here. Whether it's man-made, it's not very important. Then we have ourselves some sand. Remove all sand, gravel, clay, anything from the lake bed, because that disturbs the look and makes it look ugly. So we smoothed it out, added more grass, and what do you know, looks much more polished and nicer. So we have that, and now we want to continue decorating the area. This time we're going to go down and just embrace anything that comes to mind. So this can take the form of many things. Leaves, more torches, a dock, oars in the walls, or little passageways. Do it all. But of course, a dock is pretty important because I'm assuming you're going to be using a boat to transport a lot. If you're very concerned with that classic vibe, then an elytra is probably not your favorite item. So be sure to set up other transport options, especially if you accidentally lose your elytra, say you die. So now, with all that, let's continue decorating our area with everything that comes to mind. This time, I added some poppies and tulips to one side, and then dandelions and azurboulettes on the other, arcing around, leading to two small ravines that we can decorate with anything else, such as our animal pens, or towers, anything. It's less about utilitarianism and more about just creativity, and that's what Minecraft really is about. Now, add your ores. You can also spice it up by, instead of using ores, use something shiny like prismarine, and then using some stone stairs and slabs in order to make it look like a vein straight into the wall. I don't actually do this one, but still, it's a decent idea. Now, leaf chains going across, you can see how this also ties together the build, makes it look like we actually lived here. And now, we also have some facade stuff going on and azalea bushes growing. But now, we are nearing the end of our tutorial, because once you have all this and you get the general gist, I can't really control everything, so I ended up just filling it all in with everything I thought of. Fake rooms are a very good one to make your base seem larger than it is, and of course, you can connect these fake rooms to the base to turn them into real rooms, just making your base a bit more full, if you get what I mean. And then, once you're done with all that, then let's take one final look. So, sailing around here, we can see how it's just a bunch of things going on together. So let's take a closer look at all of it. First, you can see the lanterns in the distance, we have firefly bushes now, and we also have glowstone hidden under brown glass in the water to keep it nicely lit up. Darkness is one way to make your world feel not lived in, so light up areas. More of those facade structures, and up here we have platforms, because why not? Old player built structures help immensely. And then add your torches, your valid lighting choices everywhere when you can. So, doing all that, now it's coming together even better. Pointless parkour is also an amazing choice. You can see here how I can just jump around between the little structures I've made in this little chain here. Let's just take a closer look at it. Alternating between exposed and fully oxidized with its lanterns all waxed. And then, if I can actually fly correctly, you'd expect 15 years would make me good at this. We can have a little note block with a creeper head on it to make a jump scare. Fall down here, we have a fire, and then a little diving board. Jump right into the water, and what do you know? You can see all the little whimsy things, all the little creativities are coming together, and that's really what makes Minecraft Minecraft. So I hope this helped you understand what really makes Minecraft what it is, and that classic is not dead, it's with you. But if you're trying to connect with the textures, that's over. Anyways, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw